Hello everyone, this is the Judge. Hope you're all well. Getting my eye in for some racing. The news is that racing will be cleared to restart on the 1st of June if they're ready to go. There's a committee in place which is looking at all the things they have to do for that to go ahead. So hopefully they'll get everything sorted and we'll at least get racing behind closed doors. What that's going to mean for betting markets, we will have to wait and see. So won't be getting too anxious to start betting immediately. I think it'd be sensible to see how the horses are running, let them come out and have a run, and also see how the betting markets are without punters on the racetrack. I just thought I'd get some practice in by looking at some horses and showing a bit of how I assess them for future events. And I've selected this horse here, Raucous, because I happen to know him very well. And he's a 7-year-old sprint handicapper, and he's quite an interesting example of the way horses go up and down the handicap over a few seasons, and how you can learn something about them by looking deeply at their career. You can then use these lessons to apply them to other horses, because other horses will be very similar. Where a horse is in his career, is he going up, is he going down, what does he need in order to win a race? Here we go. So Raucous, he's 7 years old. He's now trained by Robert Cowell, and he started his career with Highclere Thoroughbred Racing and trained by William Haggis back in 2015 as a 2-year-old, where he had 4 runs. He had 4 runs as a 2-year-old. The first one he won a maiden, which was a match race against a Moment of Madness, who's also a decent sprint handicapper. He won that quite easily. He then went to Newmarket. He won on fast ground at Sandown over 5. He went to Newmarket in a condition stakes or a novice stakes or something on the July course, and he wins a 4-runner race, beating another decent sprinter called Orvar by a neck over 6 furlongs. From there, having won his first 2 races, Highclere and Haggis decide to try him in a couple of group races to see where he stands against the best of his generation. So they go to York for the Gimcrack Stakes, 6 furlongs, Group 2, 125 grand, and he runs a decent race to be 3rd, beaten 3 1/4 lengths. And they may hope that from there he's going to step forward. They then send him to Newbury, I forget what this race is called, for a Group 2, where he bumped into future Group 1 winner Ribchester, and again he finished 3rd. And he had Logout Island as well. So that wasn't a bad run. But the 2 runs and he's beaten 5 3/4 lengths. So yeah, the Mill Reef Stakes, that's it. So he's done the Gimcrack and the Mill Reef, and he's been 3rd in both, beaten 3 1/4 and 5 3/4. So it shows he's not really up to group company. He comes out in April of the following year as a 3-year-old. And they ran him in the free handicap at Newmarket off a mark of 106. And that mark proves too high for him. And he finishes 5th of 6, beaten 10 1/2 lengths. From there, they go to Epsom for a 7 furlong race, where he runs very well again, but he finishes 3rd, beaten 1 3/4 lengths. They go to the Jersey Stakes at Royal Ascot. He finishes 8th of 19, beaten 8 lengths by Ribchester again. Ribchester goes on and becomes a Group 1 winning miler, of course. So it's now clear that he's not up to winning in stakes races. He's had 5 goes by now. But nevertheless, after Royal Ascot, they give him a month off, freshen him up, comes back and runs an excellent race in a Group 3 at Newbury, getting beat 2 lengths, coming 3rd of 12, beaten just 2 lengths by the Tin Man. The Tin Man being a Group 1 sprinter. So that was a good run. He then has another really good run where he finishes third of 27 off 102 in the Stewards Cup. But unfortunately for him, by the end of his 3-year-old season, he hadn't managed to win another race since his second start of his life. Starting, not is disappointing, but he's been highly tried in group company that's beyond him. Now, he gets gelded and they bring him back the following year, his first start as a 4-year-old. They put him on the all-weather and he wins a Class 2 conditions race in a 6-runner race by 1 3/4 lengths. So they go back to listed company. Again, he gets beaten in listed company. He runs an excellent race after that in the Wokingham at Royal Ascot. The blinkers go on first time. I believe it was a massive gamble. It was a massive gamble, yes. He went off 11-2 favourite. Massive plunge on the day for Haggis and Ryan Moore. They thought they had him on a mark he could win off. But he gets beat 3.5 lengths. May well have been on the wrong side. The blinkers go on. The public got behind it, and off 105, he just couldn't run, well enough. That was just limiting him. Maybe if he'd been off the 102 here, he might well have won. But the handicapper spotted he ran well in the Stewards Cup as a 3-year-old and gave him the £3. Well, he gave him a £4 back. He gave him £4 rise for that run, which was probably justified. But now when he's back off 105, he can't do it. They then send him back to Newbury for a Group 3. He gets beat 5 lengths. He's not up to group company. They go back to the Stewards Cup, where he's off 104. He runs well. It's a bit of a blanket finish, but he gets beat 4.5 lengths. So he's struggling between being too high in the handicap, off 104, 102, 105, hasn't been able to win a handicap. The only times he's been out to win is his 3 wins so far have been in a field of 6 in a non-handicap, a field of 4 in a non-handicap, and in a match race. So it's very annoying if you own a horse of this calibre, but you can only pick up these small pots, 19 grand race, 8 grand race, and a 4 grand race. That's all. He's got good place money, but he hasn't picked up a nice pot yet. This is what I'm picking up. So he wins that race there, and even by the end of his 4-year-old career, after winning that first race of the season, he's not able to win a race by the end of his 4-year-old career. And at the end of his 4-year-old career, he gets sold by Highclere Thoroughbred Racing, and he ends up with Robert Cowell, who's an excellent trainer of sprinters. He's now with a sprint trainer, not that Haggis isn't. And again, he starts off on the all-weather this time, off 94 in a 6-furlong race on the all-weather, was unable to win. Maybe they weren't trying too hard, thinking that he needed to drop a few pounds. He's off 94 on the all-weather, can't win. Off 92 on the all-weather, can't win. Goes back on the turf, gets beat 5 lengths off 91. Doesn't look like he's trying too hard. And then, finally, as a 5-year-old, on the 25th of May, he gets down to a mark of 90 in a 7-runner race at Goodwood, and he wins by a neck. But that doesn't tell the whole story, winning by a neck, because if you look at the Racing Post rating, if he's only won by a neck, why does he get a rating of 102 from Racing Post ratings when he's only run off 90? Well, let's have a look. The reason is that they've stretched clear. He and George Bowen, what you can't tell is George Bowen was running under a penalty. And I know this because I remember the form. George Bowen had won at York. I don't know if you remember. He'd won at York the week before and was running under a penalty, and he'd bolted up by about 6 lengths. Absolutely blitzed the field, and he'd run a mark of 105 off a mark of 90. So getting beat by a neck was a good sign for Raucous. But the thing is, they pulled 2.5 lengths clear from the third and another 2.5 lengths clear from the fourth. And the handicap mark is based around the third and the fourth. and he beat this horse, Solar Flare, 4 3/4 lengths. And he was in receipt of £8. So 4 3/4 lengths is about £15 superior, but he's carrying £8 less. And if you have a look, his RPR was 102, and Solar Flare run an RPR of 95. So that's the £7. That's the £15. The £7 there in the RPR, plus the 10 stone and the 9 stone 6. So eight for the weight and 7 for the run. It's £15. And that is the difference. 4 3/4 lengths, £15. Okay, so he's had to drop all the way down to a mark of 90 to win a race. He then goes back on the all-weather off 96, runs okay, but gets beat 2 lengths. Goes back on, back on the all-weather again, and he finishes second. This time he gets beaten by Solar Flare. Look, it's very interesting. Solar Flare re-opposes. Let's have a look at the weights. He was giving him £8 before, and now he's only giving him £1. And with only £1 in it, Solar Flare was able to reverse the form. There you go. So that's interesting. So Raucous was able to win off 90. That's the first time he won in a handicap. He then goes back on the turf off 99. He's got put up £9 now for winning. He's won. He's come second. He's come third, second, and now he's back up to 99. And he can run his 105, 103, 101, 102. He's run a sequence of excellent efforts. But the fact is, he only got his head in front when he was off 90. When he ran off 96 and 99, he got beat. And then we come down here, he's on the all-weather again. And they stopped him there in July. It's very interesting. I wonder whether he had a problem. Whether they thought, well, there's no point running him now on turf because, he's too high in the weights, or whatever they thought. Maybe he had a problem. They bring him back in February and start him out on the all-weather. Maybe they were targeting an all-weather campaign. And he runs off 99. He only gets beaten half a length. They carry on the all-weather. He goes to that nice race at Wolverhampton. He runs off 99, finishes third. Again, he runs off 98. Gets beaten 2 3/4 lengths again. Back on the all-weather. Gets beat by George Bowen, who he'd previously beaten off 97. Gets beaten 1 3/4 lengths. Still on the all-weather. Runs off 95. And this time, they go back to the all-weather over 7 furlongs this time. He runs an excellent race, only gets beaten half a length. But this time they put Kieran Fallon, the young lad, on. He was an excellent claiming jockey. They put him on. He'd taken £5 off. So he's back down to near 92, even off 97 with a boy claiming 5. He still couldn't win. He ran 104, it was good form, but he couldn't get his head in front. They carry on the all-weather, again goes, you see, he runs well, gets beaten half a length, what happens? He gets put up £3. Right, so he runs a good race, gets put back up to 100. He runs again on the all-weather, this time at Chelmsford over 7 furlongs, gets beat 2 1/4 lengths, even with the £7 off this time, taking him down to 93, he still can't win. He goes back on the turf at Goodwood off 100, £7 claimer, can't win. Gets down to 99, runs at Ascot, runs in the Wokingham, runs an excellent race off 99 with the boy claiming 7. Couldn't quite win, got beat 2 lengths. But then they take him to Yarmouth, and this is a claiming handicap. Back down to a 7-runner race. Look, Kieran Fallon claiming 5, and he manages to win. Go back to the Stewards Cup off 106. He gets £6 for that win. Off 106, even with the £5 off again, he can't win. He managed to win a listed race by a head at Newmarket, and then he runs third in a Group 3 again behind Cape Byron, who beat him earlier. So if we look at his wins, he's had 6 wins in his career. He's run 38 times and he's won 6. He managed to win 1 out of 12 goes in a stakes race, which was this race here, beating Pretty Pollyanna at 10-1 in a listed race on the July course. And then he's won a 2-runner race, a 4-runner race, a 6-runner race, a 7-runner race, and a 7-runner race. He has managed to win a handicap off a mark of 100 with Kieran Fallon claiming 5 and off 90. It's the only 2 handicaps he's won. So effectively he's won. And if you look, the wins he's got in handicap 16k, 19k. So if we look at his runs according to official rating, and we'll have a look. He's run an excellent race, beaten 3.5 lengths off 106 with the boy claiming 5. 106, 4.5 lengths, 106, 10.5 lengths, 106, that's a group race. Just looking at the handicaps. 105, beaten 3.5 lengths, can't win off 105. Here again, Stewards Cup, 104, beaten 4.5 lengths. At the Curragh, in running a handicap off 102, got beat 8 lengths. At Goodwood, running a 7 furlong race off 102, got beat 6 lengths. Here he managed to run off 102 and only get beat a length and a quarter. Of course, in this race here, in July 2016, he was a 3-year-old. And the winner was a 3-year-old. Of course, he was still on the upward part of his curve there. So we've got, and let's have a look. Then he manages to win this 7-runner race at Yarmouth worth 19 grand with the boy claiming 5, effectively putting him on 95 by 1.25 length. So what am I going to be looking for? If Raucous turns up this year, what's his current handicap mark? His current handicap mark is 106. And I'm telling you now, I won't even consider betting him in any handicap until he's got a mark below 100. I'd like to really see him, maybe off 97 with a boy claiming 5 in a race worth less than 20 grand. That's when he's going to win a race. He's often very competitive. When you look down here, 99 only beating a neck, 97 only beating half a length, 97 again beating 1.25 lengths, down here 96 beating half a length, and so forth. And here 90 he won. Unless he's down here in the weights, I will not be considering for a bet. So there you go. That's how I have a look at horses. I've been right through his career. I know he's 7 years old. I know what he wants. He wants ideally 6 furlongs. He probably wants a small field. He wants to be on a mark of around 92 to 97 in a race worth under 20 grand, and ideally with a claiming jockey on board. Although he has one for Alistair Rawlinson and Jamie Spencer, so he doesn't have to have a claiming jockey. I'm certain Mr. Cowell will know exactly where to place this horse. You might see him on the all-weather. And once I've familiarised myself with these horses, the next thing to do, as I was saying, is when they've, imagine this was the form I'm looking through for last year. I'm looking for when he might win a race. I might have fallen on him here. Right, today's the day. He's run a really good race at Royal Ascot. It's a big drop in grade. Today's the day. That he's got to put this race to bed. Whether you want to then bet him at 100 to 30, but that's probably the time to get him. Like he was there 4-1 when he won at Goodwood. He dropped down to a mark of 90. He had to have a major chance. There you go. That's Raucous. That's the way I look at them, and then I'm looking to see, are they on a mark they can win from, and are they in form where they can win? If they're running down the field all the time. If you look here, beaten 5 lengths, beaten 4 lengths, beaten 6 lengths, beaten 8 lengths, beaten 8 lengths. After that run of 4 or 5 runs, are you going to want to bet him at Kempton? No, you're not. He still gets beaten 4 lengths, and then he gets beaten 4 lengths, and then he gets beaten 5 lengths. You might guess that today was the day at Goodwood, but probably I would leave it alone. There you go. That's an in-depth look at Raucous, what he wants, what he's done good in his life, and what he needs in order to win. And they will be trying to get a win out of him this year. Maybe in a conditions race, a non-handicap somewhere. that's probably his best route, because of 106, he's going to find it very hard to win a handicap, and he's not up to winning group races. He might win a listed race. All the best now. Hope that was of some interest. That is the kind of deep thought thinking that you have to do for these races, and that is part of the handicap snip methodology, which I will be applying, and I will be focusing on those class 2s and those heritage handicaps for the rest of this year, and that is where most of our punting is going to come. We're going to look for the value with enhanced places, like with the Beringer bet, in the Cambridgeshire last year, and the one that came 6th in the Cesarewitch when we had 8 places. That's the kind of betting we want to be doing. Big prices with good chances of at least getting our money back, so that when we land on one that wins, we actually win big money. Okay, hope that was of some interest to you guys. All the best, and I'll be back soon.